Next class of vertebrata is amphibia. Amphibia consist of amphibians such as frogs, toads, salamanders, and newts. Amphibians are called amphibians because they are able to live in both aquatic as well as terrestrial environment. These are the first vertebrates that have adapted to the life on land and water as well. So they can live both on the terrestrial as well as freshwater environment. So amphi means both. So amphibian is an organism that is able to live in both the climatic conditions. Amphibians have two life stages. One is mainly aquatic, that is the larval stage, and the other one is mainly terrestrial, which is the adult phase of their life. Amphibians have moist, permeable skin, which helps them to breathe, but they also have lungs, which are a main organ for respiration. Amphibians are ectothermic, that means they are cold-blooded. They cannot regulate their body temperature based on the external temperature of the environment. Amphibians typically have 4 limbs. That is why they are called tetrapods. Tetra means 4. Their skin do not have scales, but some species have the kind of skin that can secrete some toxins for their defense to prevent the predators from eating them. Their heart is simpler, and unlike the heart of human beings, like our heart, which is 4-chambered, amphibians have 3-chambered heart. Reproduction in amphibians is external, and they lay egg in water. Their larval stages undergo metamorphosis to become the adult. So this phenomena of changing their entire body form from larva to adult is metamorphosis, because the larva looks very different from the adult. So it's an entirely different kind of organism when you just consider their appearance. So amphibians do have their dependence on water for reproduction. So a phase of their life cycle requires the presence of water around them. Amphibians have a very sensitive skin, because of which they can be used as the indicator of judging whether an environment is healthy or not. Amphibians also play a very key role in the food chain. They are both predators as well as prey. Another very important fact about amphibian skin is they produce either antimicrobial peptides, for example meganin from the African clawed frog, or dermaceptin from South American frog, both of which are antimicrobial compounds obtained from the skin of frogs. Some frogs also produce some alkaloid, which are toxic compounds that have the potential of being used as a pain relief medication. For example, batrachotoxin produced by poison dart frogs. The next class under vertebrata is reptilia. Reptilia includes reptiles such as snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodiles. Their unique adaptation for life on land includes dry and scaly skin, which prevents the loss of water from their outer skin. Amphibians lay egg on land or give birth to live young ones. Reptiles are found in diverse habitats ranging from deserts, forests to wetlands. Reptiles are ectothermic, which means that their body temperature is primarily regulated by the outside temperature of their surrounding environment, and they do not have any internal regulation of body temperature. They have lungs for respiration, which are more efficient than those in the amphibians. Their fertilization is internal, and they have amniotic eggs. They have a protective shell around their eggs. Their skin is mainly covered with keratinized scales, which prevents the loss of water from their skin, which is a very important adaptation for their life on land. They typically have 4 limbs, which is why they are also tetrapoda, with the exception of some snake species. Their heart is also 3-chambered, just like that found in amphibians, But the crocodiles in this class of reptiles have four-chambered heart. Another adaptation for their life on land and be able to walk is the reptiles have very strong muscular limbs. Reptiles also produce venom, as in case of some snakes, which prevent them from being eaten up by the predators, and it is a kind of their defense mechanism. They have also the capability to camouflage, which means they can blend with their surrounding and almost become invisible for the predator, and this is also their way of escaping a predator. Reptiles can be oviparous or ovoviviparous. So oviparous are when the eggs are laid but they are hatching outside of the body of the mother or the parent, and ovoviviparous is when they lay eggs but the hatching happens inside the body of the parent. In the ecosystem, reptiles act both as a predator as well as a prey. So they have a huge impact on controlling pests in the population. The next class under vertebrata is aves. Aves are birds. They are warm-blooded animals. That means they have internal mechanism of regulating their body temperature, and they have feathers, wings, and beak. They are also characterized by their ability to fly. Aves are found almost worldwide, and they have unique diversity ranging from a small hummingbird to a huge ostrich. Aves have a high metabolic rate, which is why they are warm-blooded. They have endothermic mechanism of regulating their body temperature. They have feathers for flight, insulation, and for colorful display. They have beaks but not teeth. That is an adaptation for different feeding strategies. Birds have hollow bones which help them in flight. Wings are basically modified forelimbs, so those are like arms in the human beings, and they have very strong muscles which help the bird in flight. Birds also possess a very efficient respiratory system with air sacs, and there are total as many as 9 air sacs in birds. These air sacs not only function as a lung, but they also provide buoyancy because it decreases the overall density of their body. Birds have internal fertilization. They do not depend on water for the fusion of gametes, and they are oviparous. They produce eggs that hatch outside of their body, and their eggs have hard shells. Birds provide extensive parental care to their young ones. They also display courtship behavior and nesting for displaying a social behavior, having a family structure. Birds are important pollinators. They have capacity to disperse the seeds of a plant from one place to another, and they also eat a pest, which is why they act as a pest controller. Birds are also an indicator of healthy environment, and they are major contributors to the biodiversity of an ecosystem. The last class under vertebrata that we are going to discuss is Mammalia. Mammals include human beings, dogs, whales, bats, primates, majority of the animals that you see around yourself. Mammals can live in diverse environment, in terrestrial, aquatic, as well as aerial. Mammals are warm-blooded. They are endothermic. They can regulate their own body temperature. They have high metabolic rate, and they also have fur or hair on their body that prevents the loss of heat. A very important characteristic feature of mammals is the presence of mammary glands, which are the milk producing glands. That is why this class is also named after the mammary glands. Mammals are warm-blooded animals. They have mammary glands or the milk producing glands. They also have another characteristic feature of possessing 3 ear bones in their middle ear for improved capacity of hearing. They have different kinds of body structures for helping them adapt to different environments that they live. For example, presence of limbs or fins or wings, depending on whether they live on land, water, or air. They possess different kinds of teeth that is an adaptation for different kinds of diet they eat. For example, incisors are mainly for biting, canines are mainly for tearing, and molars are mainly for chewing. Mammals have 4-chambered heart, which increases the efficiency of circulatory system. Mammals have highly developed brain for advanced behavior and problem-solving capabilities. They also display social behavior, which is why they are able to make a social structure, interact with the other members of their own species or the other species in unique manner. Mammals also show strong parental care. They nurture their young ones, provide them with not only milk as a nutrient, but also they arrange for their shelters. Mammals are mostly viviparous, that means they lay the young ones and not the eggs, with some exceptions of mammals like platypus, which lay eggs. The fertilization is mostly internal, and the development of the young one occurs in the womb of the parent. Mammals have long gestation period, that means the young one before having birth stays for a very long time in the body of the parent, and the gestation period, for example, in human beings is around 9 months. Mammals also provide postnatal care to their young ones. Some major classes of Mammalia are marsupials, placentals, or monotremes, depending on their reproductive behavior. Marsupials have a pouch in which they carry their young ones. Placentals have a placenta connecting the body of mother with the young one before their birth, which acts as a supply chain for nutrients and gases. And monotremes lay eggs. Mammals are very integral to the ecosystem. They act as predators, prey, and are major contributors to the environmental balance. The domestication of mammals play a crucial role in human society, both as livestock as well as pets. There is extensive research going on for the conservation of these mammals and understanding their behavior and diversity.